Please, human, don't look at me like that. The alien woman pleaded. The rain was coming down in thick sheets, drumming against the metal rooftops of the old docking district. I had just left the salvage shop with a few meager supplies when I saw her, leaning against a shadow wall, her silver cloak soaked through, trembling as if the storm itself were hunting her. Her skin was faintly luminescent, the kind of subtle glow that no human could fake, even with the best biotech. It pulsed faintly under the grime smeared across her face. The moment our eyes met, she flinched. Please, human. Her voice wavered like a string about to snap. Don't look at me like that. I froze. I hadn't realized I was staring. Something about her, fragile, wounded, yet defiant, demanded attention. My gaze must have carried too much curiosity or pity. I'm sorry, I said, softening my voice. I didn't mean... Pity is worse than hatred where I come from, she interrupted, clutching her cloak tighter. The motion exposed her wrist, banded with a thin black collar of alien metal, etched with symbols that glowed faintly red. A tracker. I knew what that meant. She wasn't just an alien in the human sector. She was property. You're running, I guessed. Her eyes darted to the side, scanning the street as though expecting someone to emerge from the rain. Not running, she whispered. Escaping. A surge of wind nearly tore the cloak from her shoulders, revealing a jagged wound along her side. It looked recent and bad. Without thinking, I stepped forward, reaching for my satchel. She flinched away instantly, pressing her back against the wall. Don't. You're bleeding, I said. If you don't let me patch that up, you won't make it through the night. For a moment, she just stared, her alien eyes, slightly larger than humans, searching my face. Then her shoulders slumped, and she let out a shaky breath. Fine, but no questions. I guided her under the half-collapsed awning of a closed vendor stall. Kneeling beside her, I rummaged through my pack for the med gel. As I worked, I noticed a subtle tremor in her hands, the way she kept glancing at every shadow. You're safe for now, I murmured. There is no safe for me, she said bitterly. The ones who own me, they never stop looking. I sealed the wound and wrapped it with a strip of scent cloth. Her breathing eased slightly. You could hide in the human sector, I suggested. Blend in. I know people who... No! Her tone was sharp enough to cut. You think you're helping, but the moment you see what I really am, she trailed off, looking away. I hesitated. What are you afraid I'll see? Her gaze snapped back to mine, and for a heartbeat, the mask of defiance cracked. Weakness. The word landed heavier than I expected. She wasn't just afraid of capture. She was afraid of being seen as less than what she had been. You think I'm looking at you like you're broken, I said quietly. Aren't you? I shook my head. No. I'm looking at someone who's still standing after gods know what. That's not weakness. Something in her expression shifted, but before she could respond, the sharp whine of a hover drone cut through the rain. Her body tensed instantly. They found me, she whispered. I glanced toward the sound. 2 patrol drones weaving through the alley mouths, their sensors sweeping the street. Come on. I grabbed her hand. This time, she didn't pull away. We ran through the rain-slicked back streets, weaving between rusted cargo crates and piles of broken machinery. The glow from her skin was faint, but in the dark, it could still give us away. I tore a strip from my cloak and wrapped it around her head and shoulders. We reached an old freight lift leading to the lower docks. I jammed the manual control, and the lift groaned to life, descending into the shadows below. When we stopped, the air was thick with the scent of oil and salt water. The underground dock was nearly abandoned, except for a single small skimmer I'd been repairing for weeks. It's not much, I said, pulling her aboard. But It'll get you past the patrol net. She stared at me, bewildered. You'd risk yourself for me? Why? I paused, hand on the ignition panel. Because I've seen what happens to people who get dragged back. And because you asked me not to look at you a certain way. I'd rather look at you knowing you're free. Her lips parted slightly, as if she wanted to say something, but instead she looked away. If you help me, they'll hunt you too. I smiled faintly. Guess that makes us both fugitives. The engines whined to life, and the skimmer slid out into the black water. Rain hissed against the canopy as we cut through the waves toward the faint outline of the open sea. For a long time, neither of us spoke. Then, in a voice barely louder than the rain, she said, "My name is Kira." I glanced at her, and she met my eyes without flinching this time. The fear was still there, but something else had taken root, a fragile, uncertain trust. "You don't have to tell me anything you don't want," I said. "I will, when I'm ready." We rode on in silence again, the storm slowly fading behind us. And though she had pleaded with me not to look at her with pity, I realized I was looking at her now in an entirely different way, one she didn't seem afraid of anymore.